Welcome back, me shipmates. UK Video Game Pirate here today with my Megadrive collection video. This is the next console in the line of collection videos that I'm going to do, which started with the NES, which was my first console, and obviously the Megadrive was my second. Hope you're all well, everyone. Had a good weekend. I know a lot of people went to the Blackpool Gaming Expo. I hope you all had a good time. I bet the beers were flowing big time there. Hope to attend there in the future next time it's on. I actually forgot about it until I saw Retro Bears podcast last night when somebody mentioned it. But just to say, I hope you all had a good time there. Well, 100 Megadrive games I have here to show you. So I'm going to start off with the first game I played, which was the first time I saw the Megadrive, around my friend's house, and one of 3 games he had, and the first one, of course, the main packing game when the Megadrive came out, Altered Beast. Not the greatest game by today's standards, but back in the day, it was a good arcade port, I thought. And secondly, in the 80s and the early 90s, I was a big Michael Jackson fan. And I actually really liked this game back in the day. I actually own this. This is one of the games I saw when I first saw the Megadrive, which my friend had. Great game. And the other game he had at the time, another great game, Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion. First of the Disney games that came out on the Megadrive, one of them. And what a game it was. Great music. There's been a remake in HD about 10 years ago, was it 9 years ago, on the Xbox 360 and PS3. I haven't played the remake, but the original is great. And then the thing that made me go and get a Megadrive, and I went round to one of my friend's flats, and there he was sitting there playing it, and that was the first time I saw Sonic the Hedgehog. The first time I saw this, it literally, within 10 minutes, I knew I was going home and asking my parents to buy one for me. So probably in the summer or just after the summer of 1991, that's when I got my Megadrive. And I got it with this game. And I think the other game I got it with was Michael Jackson's Moonwalker that I just showed you. And the following game in the series, highly regarded as the best on the Megadrive amongst most people, Sonic 2, which famously came out on the Sonic Tuesday. Probably, like I said, the best in the series on the Megadrive, and it's the first introduction of Tails. And a slight graphical enhancement, but not the full game if you know the whole story. I don't actually own the add-on Sonic and Knuckles, I just own this, Sonic 3. But again, this is a great game. Like I said, they made the Sonic and Knuckles cartridges as an add-on for the full game, really. But this still, the Sonic series, you can't go wrong with the Sonic series on the Megadrive. Now, firstly, a game I played on the Amiga back in the day. And these games, I believe, run better on the Megadrive than they do the Super Nintendo. That was something I always tried to make sure back in the day. If I was going to buy a game, I wasn't really biased towards one console. I tried to figure out which one it was best at. But this, obviously, I think I played this on the Amiga first. As I said, probably better off on the Megadrive, this game, and the other game that goes with it, Flashback. Very, very similar in gameplay styles, but of course, like I said, more suited for the Megadrive than they were the Super Nintendo. And the first game in a great series, Streets of Rage. I loved this game when I was a kid, playing it. I never actually owned it, but my mate owned the first one and the second one, and I used to play this co-op with him around my house, around his house. And what a great series it was. I love Streets of Rage 4 that came out recently. That was a great game, but this, the first in the series. And then, what's pretty much respected by most people as the best in the series, Streets of Rage 2. Obviously, the legendary music in this game, very well thought of till this day. And this is a great game. I played this many times when I was a kid. I never actually owned it. I didn't own any of the Streets of Rage games. But I said my friends own these games, and there was a video shop near my house, so if I ever wanted to rent a Mega Drive game, it was no problem. But I don't actually own Streets of Rage 3, which is nothing much to miss out on, because it's the worst in the series, I think, out of the 3 games, where Japan got a much better deal than us on Streets of Rage 3, which is a much better game. And next, a game I owned on the Amiga, and I haven't played this on the Mega Drive yet. I played the second one, but I haven't played the first one on the Mega Drive. But as I said, I owned this on the Amiga back in the day. I've seen gameplay of this, and graphically it doesn't quite look up to the same standard as the Amiga, neither does the sound. But this is a graphical powerhouse back in the day when it came out. And then, not so well thought of, second game, Shadow of the Beast 2. Again, I remember playing this back in the day on the Amiga, and I've tried this out on the Mega Drive, and it's not too much better, to tell you the truth. Next, a trilogy of games that I loved back in the day. I used to rent this a lot from my local video shop, Road Rash. They tried to make new Road Rash games in recent times, or copy it, and it hasn't turned out too well. But if anyone could know of a game like Road Rash you think's turned out really well, that's come out since, leave it in the comments. We'll have the first game there. Then we have Road Rash 2. It's a bit, I don't know what people think the best in the series is. It's usually out of between Road Rash 1 and Road Rash 2. And there's the second one. And lastly, the third in the series. I think it's actually, I'm not sure what language that is. Is it Dutch or German? Not too sure. Maybe you can let me know. Road Rash 3. Next, a series that was big on the Master System. I had it on the Amiga, and then it came onto the Mega Drive, starting with Wonder Boy 3, Monsters Lair. And then the next one, Wonder Boy in Monster World. As I said, I really loved these Wonder Boy games. There was something about the art style and the gameplay. It used to be there for hours. It used to fascinate me when I was a kid. Nextly, a game I loved in the arcade. I was a big fan of 2D scrolling beat-em-ups when I was a kid, and still am to this day, to tell you the truth. But one of the arcade greats, Golden Axe. And here's the first in the series. Great arcade port. Couldn't go wrong with this game back in the day. So there's the first Golden Axe. Then we move on to Golden Axe 2. Take your choice which one you prefer out the two. Me prefer, I can't get better than the original to me. I haven't got Golden Axe 3 as it did not come out here in the UK. And I hear the Japanese version is supposed to be a good game. I've never played it myself, so I can't really comment on that. Then first of the Disney games I've got, Pinocchio. These are games that came out on the Super Nintendo. It was not very similar to their Super Nintendo counterparts. I think I own it on the Super Nintendo as well, because I couldn't work out which one was better, so I owned them both. And a game that is definitely better on the Mega Drive, and that is Mickey Mania. A bit more challenging title than Castle of Illusion, but great graphics on this game. Really like the graphics, and as I said, it can be pretty challenging, but this game I think is better on the Mega Drive than its Super Nintendo counterpart. Next game I also chose to get on the Mega Drive, Toy Story, the first Toy Story game I have here. Take your choice which you think it's better on, Mega Drive or Super Nintendo. Leave in the comments below and why. And another Disney character, Donald Duck in Maui Mallard. This can also be another pretty challenging game. Great graphics, very good art style. This game can be quite pricey now, I believe. I got this a while ago, so I can't really comment on today's price. And a big favourite here, World of Illusion, starring Mickey and Donald. This is a great game that you can play in co-op, and obviously back in the day its art style amazed everyone, as did many of these Disney games, to tell the truth. And a not so good Disney game, Ariel the Little Mermaid. I've not played this much, but that's probably the reason why I haven't played this too much, because it's not really that much of a great game. Now, what is a much better game is Tiny Toon Adventures Buster's Hidden Treasure. I did really like this game. Another platformer. And another game, take your pick which one you prefer it on. Jungle Book. I think I actually own this on both. It's another situation where I couldn't figure out which one was better, so to save the argument, buy them both. Next game here, Sylvester and Tweety in KG Capers. I had to watch gameplay of this game just to work out what the hell I was doing. But yet again, very good art style in this game. As I said, all these games with these Disney characters being back in the day all had great art styles. And the game that wasn't similar to its Super Nintendo counterpart is Aladdin. Commonly thought as the better Aladdin game, made by, I think, was it Steve Perry, Virgin. Was this a Virgin game? Yes, it was. And the space, well, take your choice which one you prefer. Obviously, you had the use of the sword in this game, which you didn't have, which is more of a traditional platform game, the one on the Super Nintendo. But this had very high sales back in the day. The art style amazed people back in the day, and it still looks great to this day. Now, I don't own the first one, but here is James Pond 2 Robocod. I was actually in the crowd for the first series of Games Master, and I think it was the episode where they had this game on the program, and I tried to get onto the show when they asked who wants to come and do the challenge, but unfortunately I didn't get on. That would have been great if I did, to try and win a Games Master Golden Joystick, but that was the first time I remember really seeing this game. James Pond 2 Robocod. And then the third one, as I said, I don't own the first. The second one probably the best in the series. These are games as well that I regard better on the Mega Drive than the Super Nintendo. Next, other games that are better on the Mega Drive than the Super Nintendo. The Micro Machine games. So we got the first Micro Machine game here. Then Micro Machines 2 Turbo Tournament. As I said, probably better on the Mega Drive, these games on the Super Nintendo. Next, a trilogy of games, starting with Desert Strike. It was either Desert Strike or the next one that came out first. Yet again, these games are known for being better on the Mega Drive than they were on the Super Nintendo. So the first one was Desert Strike. Second we have here Jungle Strike. I played Jungle Strike and Desert Strike back in the day. but the one I'm coming on to next I didn't play. That's a Jungle Strike. And lastly, out of the trilogy, we have Urban Strike. This is one I haven't played, just like I said, out of the trilogy, but it's regarded as a Gates 93% in Sega Power, so you can't go wrong. Then this is the next part of another trilogy, but I only own the first two, and that is, the first one is Shinobi. Great game. Most people don't think it's the best in the series. Most people with number 3, but I didn't play this back in the day. I think it was only till later in life I played this. But one I did play and own back in the day was Shadow Dancer. I think I actually own this on the Amiga and the Megadrive. I'm sure I owned it on both. I really liked this game back in the day. Very challenging game. One-hit kills, reasons for that mostly. But yeah, great game. As I said, I don't own the third one in the trilogy, which most people regard as their favourite. That's Shadow Dancer. Then 2 games. This is a game I owned back in the day on the Amiga, and that's firstly Chuck Rock. Not the greatest in their genre games, but I like the aesthetics of this game back in the day. And again, this came out on the Super Nintendo. Take your choice which one you think's better. And that's the first one. And then there was a second one which isn't as good, and that's Chuck Rock 2, Son of Chuck. Then a game which is mostly regarded as being better on the Megadrive, and that is the first Earthworm Jim. This was a great sight to be seen back in the day with the sound and the art style that was used. I think this is another Steve Perry game, and as I said, it's known for being better on the Megadrive. And then after that, you had Earthworm Jim 2. Now, after thinking that the first one was better on the Megadrive, you'd think the second one could be better on the Megadrive, but I believe that is not the case. So even though I do own this on the Megadrive, I do want to get it on the Super Nintendo if I think it is the better version of this game. So that's Earthworm Jim 2. Now, another game with good graphics. This didn't come out on the Super Nintendo, I believe. And this is Garfield Caught in the Act. I actually loved these series back in the day. Power Rangers, this is the movie game. They were different to their Super Nintendo games. They weren't the same. I do actually own the conventional Power Rangers game on the Super Nintendo, but the movie game on this and the movie game on Super Nintendo are different. It's take your choice which one you prefer. Personally, I preferred the one on the Mega Drive. Then this is something you probably never get today for children's programming, but back in the 90s they were great days, weren't they? You had Ren and Stimpy show, and yeah, again there were several Ren and Stimpy games on the Super Nintendo. This is the only one I own on the Mega Drive. I'm not too sure if there's more than one Ren and Stimpy's game, but this is the only one I own. And then a very Commando-like game, Rambo 3. Game's scrolling upwards shooting game, very much like the Commando Guerrilla War games back in the day. Rambo 3. And massive film when it came out. Here's the Mega Drive version, Jurassic Park. Very different to the Super Nintendo version. This game you get to play as either Alan Grant or the Raptor in the campaign mode. I believe they didn't offer any other modes on this game, but you get a choice of either Alan Grant or obviously the Raptor. Next, Another good movie tie-in game, The Terminator. People really like this the most on the Mega CD, but I was quite happy with this one. Megadrive, Terminator. And another great movie tie-in, we have Batman. Played this recently. I still think this game holds up really well as a 2D sort of scrolling platformer action game, sort of that it is. Next for you, DJ Boy on the Mega Drive. This isn't the greatest game. I actually thought it was going to be better when I looked at the gameplay compared to when I played it, but I should have known better. It isn't the totally well thought of, this game, but there's DJ Boy for you. Another game that came out on both consoles, Fatal Fury. I personally think the Mega Drive one is better, but you could argue that point with me. That's why I chose to get it on the Mega Drive and not the Super Nintendo. Next here, which is a game I believe is better on the Super Nintendo than the Mega Drive because of the controller, because of the use of the buttons. I do actually own this on both, I believe. So, as I said, I believe the Super Nintendo one is better because of the controller, more options of buttons to use. Another great movie tie-in, Ghostbusters. Well, you can only actually get to play as 3 of the Ghostbusters in this game. For some reason they chose to leave Winston out. This, I don't know, very cartoony looking Ghostbusters game, but I really did enjoy this game. And another game that come out on the Super Nintendo, Alien 3. I believe this is another one. I own both because they are different. They look similar, but they are different. But is Alien 3 on the Mega Drive? Take your pick, which one you prefer. And this game is fantastic. A Mega Drive exclusive, Rocket Knight Adventures. This game didn't come out on the Super Nintendo, but the sequel did, I believe. And that's Rocket Knight Adventures, great game. Next here, not the greatest tie-in, but here's Spider-Man for you. Next, now, the only game that came out here in the UK in the series, and that is Splatterhouse 2. Great side-scrolling, smash 'em monsters up game with your bat or whatever weapon you've got in your hand at the time. Splatterhouse 2. It's a shame the third one didn't come out in this country, because I would have liked more than one Splatterhouse to come out over here. Next, pretty mediocre side-scrolling beat 'em up, Last Battle. Not too much to say about that. And this might cause some controversy though. Toe Jam and Earl Panic on Funkatron. The controversy is I don't own the first one because I don't think much of the first one, because I played it when I was a kid. I didn't think anything of it. I tried playing it in later life and I really couldn't get what people like. I know obviously people liked it, but it didn't do anything for me. But the unpopular decision, as I was saying, is I actually prefer this side-scrolling platformer more than the first one. Next for you, a game that is better on the Mega Drive, even though they are different. RoboCop versus Terminator. This is actually a very good movie tie-in game. We could say never actually a movie that came out as such, but movie tie-in related games. But this is much better on the Mega Drive than it was on the Super Nintendo, but they are different games, so you can get both. And then a very badly controlled game, Shakan. Had a bit of Megadrive's attitude back in the day, the dark sort of character he's supposed to be, but unfortunately it was let down in bad gameplay controls. And Paperboy, game that came out on multiple systems. Probably played this first on the Spectrum. I did actually own this on the NES as well, but I didn't think it was, I only needed one version of Paperboy, and I didn't think the NES one was the one to keep. So the one I did keep was Paperboy on the Mega Drive. Another side-scrolling beat 'em up. Two Crude Dudes. Next, probably should have shown this earlier with the rest of the Disney games, but here's Disney's Tailspin. And next we have for you Talmit's Adventure. I don't believe I have played this, I'm not too sure. No, I don't believe I have played this game, but there's Talmit's Adventure. First of the two wrestling games. This will always be a memorable game for me, not for its quality, but because of what happened to me the day I got it. The day I got this game, I was knocked down by a car, a very bad car accident. It was life-changing, but that's how I always remember this game. The day I bought this is the same day I was knocked down by a car. Great luck, eh? Right. Next, we have a series that is very popular in Europe, Asterix. This is one of, is it two or maybe three games that came out on the Mega Drive. I know on the Master System I think there was certainly 3 games, but this again another side-scrolling platform game. Next, a game I loved when I was a kid, used to rent this loads, as I used to like athletics when I was a kid, but Olympic gold based on Barcelona 1992. This is something I actually really liked back in the day. I haven't played it, so I'm not sure what it'd be. I'll think of it now if I was to play it again. Maybe I should give it a try. And a game I used to play on holiday before it came out on the consoles in the arcades, Mortal Kombat. I remember when I was choosing which one I wanted to get. I was a kid that grew up on horror movies, so I wasn't amazed by blood as such. It didn't amaze me when I saw all this blood in Mortal Kombat when I was playing the arcade version. So when I chose which one to get, I rented the Mega Drive one first, and then my friend had the Super Nintendo version, and I actually preferred the Super Nintendo version because of the graphics and because of the sound. I thought it was much better than having a bit of blood to me. I thought they still have fatality moves, even though they're not as good for all of them. But I'm not sure what I'd think today, but to save that argument in my head, I made sure I got both. So it's Mortal Kombat 1 on the Mega Drive. I actually don't own any of the other Mortal Kombats on the Mega Drive. I own them on the Super Nintendo and the PlayStation. Another game I owned back in the day, Dick Tracy. This rather great movie tie-in game. I think I own the not so good Amiga version as well. Another great arcade port, Ghouls and Ghosts. Legendarily difficult game. Do own the Super Nintendo game, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, that adds a gameplay mechanic into the jumping. But this is a great arcade port, Ghouls and Ghosts. A game I owned on the Amiga, Speedball 2. I used to actually really love this game back in the day. a sport that, I know it's a make-believe sport, basically it doesn't exist, but Speedball 2, I wonder if it will exist in the future. Next, Boogerman. This is another game that did come out on the Super Nintendo. It's take your choice which one you think's better, but personally I believe the Megadrive one is supposed to be the best one. Dynamite Headdy, game that only came out on the Megadrive. Next, another Megadrive only game, Kid Chameleon. We basically, it's a sort of side-scrolling platformer, but you put these helmets on which give you different abilities to get through the level, and I believe there is quite a few levels in this game. Another game I shouldn't really put in the Disney section, but here's Quackshot. This, graphically back in the day, was great to look at, still holds up well to this day. Next, a game I owned on the Amiga, and I own the remake on the Nintendo Switch, but here's the Mega Drive version of Toki, going ape spit. Very challenging game, Toki, but there's Toki. Next, the only one I own, Rolling Thunder 2. I believe this is the only one that come out over here in the UK on the Mega Drive. I believe the original one was originally an arcade game. So it's Rolling Thunder 2. Next, good game, Alicia Dragoon. Side-scrolling action game. Another great game, I think, it's arguable, Strider on the Mega Drive. Make your choice whether you think this is a good port of the arcade. Next, we have Rolo. I believe it is Rolo to the rescue, the elephant. Side-scrolling platformer. Sorry, just wet my mouth. Next, have eSWAT. I believe this was an arcade game as well, but this is a very good arcade port, eSWAT. Next, much better than the Super Nintendo version, Captain America and the Avengers. This is a port of the arcade game, and it is, in my opinion, a very good port of the arcade game, Captain America and the Avengers. Another game I first played on the Amiga. I think this came out on the Super Nintendo as well, but I have the Mega Drive version. That is Zool. I believe there was a second Zool game. I'm not sure. I don't think it came out on the Mega Drive here in the UK. I'm not too sure, but there's Zool. Next, X-Men. Not the greatest game. Very challenging game, X-Men. The second one, I believe, is a much better game, but it's got pretty pricey nowadays. And something I originally played on the Spectrum, well, Desert Island Dizzy, I think it was. I played on the Spectrum first, but here is Fantastic Dizzy. I think this was the only Dizzy game that came out on the Mega Drive. And a game I played on the Amiga, and that is Forgotten Worlds, 2-player side-scrolling shooter. You can fly up in the air on your rocket packs, I believe, if I remember rightly, fly about the screen shooting, 2-player game. Next we have McDonald's tie-in game. Global Gladiators, and surprisingly it's actually a good McDonald's tie-in game. You wouldn't believe it, anything with McDonald's on it would be an actual good game, but to tell the truth, yeah, it's not hard, but it's decent. Then a couple of games. Firstly, one that looked spectacular back in the day but didn't control as well as it looked, and that is Tasmania. I thought, remember when I saw this, I thought, wow, the animation in that game looks so great. But when you hear the sound in this game, it's like two totally different classes of workers worked on this game. There's the first one, Tasmania. And it doesn't get much better in Tasmania, Escape from Mars. Next here for you, we have Alien Storm. Again, originally an arcade game, side-scrolling sort of beat 'em up with guns to kill the aliens with. Good port of the arcade. Next, we have Mercs, another commando type game, sort of in the same vein as Rambo 3. And there's Mercs. Hopefully, and here, a very bad game. I bought it just because I liked this series back in the day, but I should have known better when I played the Amiga one, and that was terrible. I shouldn't have thought this would be any better, to tell the truth, and it wasn't. It's not a very good game. Captain Planet. I do believe the one on the NES is supposed to probably be the best one out of the lot, but that's, trust me, that's the only one I haven't played. Next, we have Flintstones, another 2D side-scrolling platformer. Not a bad game, I suppose. And a game that looked great back in the day, but if you try and get through it, it is very confusing, and without a guide, I'm sure it is pretty much very hard to get through. There's Echo the Dolphin, looked great back in the day, was a powerhouse to look at. Next, take your choice, a game that came out on the Super Nintendo as well, but I've got it here on the Megadrive, and that's Cool Spot. Again, another Virgin game, probably Steve Perry, was it Dave Perry, one of the two, can't remember, that designed these games. That's Cool Spot. And next we have Decapitac, another good side-scrolling action platformer game. Decapitac. And I actually didn't know this wrestling game existed. I owned it on the Super Nintendo. Has a different roster, but here is Royal Rumble on the Mega Drive. I own, as I said, the Super Nintendo one back in the day. I didn't know this one actually existed until later. But again, these games back in the day, we thought they were good, but if you put them into nowadays perspective, not the best wrestling game to play. And second to lastly, we have here another movie tie-in game, Predator 2. Some people like this game, some people don't, so it's up to you really. And lastly, I believe this is last, we have California Games. This is a game I actually owned on the Amiga back in the day. I actually used to really like this game. I actually played it a lot, but the ones after this didn't fare too well. So this is the last game here to show you, I believe, in the collection. I believe I've gone through all 100 now. I hope you've enjoyed that video, everyone, and hope you've maybe found out something new in this video. I very much doubt it with all the Megadrive collection videos they've been. But yet again, I hope you enjoyed, everyone, and I hope you join me again next time for another collection video. Goodbye, everyone.